Probably not, but I certainly grew up with hippie parents, and my dad is definitely someone who makes things, and I definitely I always wanted to be an inventor and that sort of stuff, so I guess it's not very surprising whatsoever, and it sure seems to be sticking with me. Well, certainly there would be a reaction against that, but the reality is that we do like to live around people, most of us very much so, and that's why cities are so popular. They can be a very efficient way of sharing resources, and so I think it's something that we want to do, and I think it's the small living has suffered from a lack of good design, a lack of products and architecture that support it. And so I think we can do a much better job, and I think a lot of things coming down the pike, such as autonomous vehicles and much better biking infrastructure in the cities and this sort of stuff will make more people living closer together actually a lot easier. And so yeah, I'm still a big proponent for it. I think people desire it, and I think it makes sense, and I think we can do it a lot better than we have, and a lot of the stuff that's coming will facilitate that. Well, I think that strikes at the core of it. It is a tough thing. We have, for up until really probably 50, 60 years ago, more was always better. But I think we reached a point where it isn't necessarily, and we're confusing happiness with stuff and with space. And the reality is that after a certain amount of money, after a certain amount of space and sort of quality of life, it doesn't really make you any happier. And I think there are tons of examples of people who have downsized that are feeling happier. Also tons of examples of people with lots of stuff and ending up having to spend a lot of time managing those things can become a real pain and really interfere with what's valuable, which is time. And happiness is about connections and about relationships and about experiences, and a lot of big living doesn't help those things. In fact, it may hurt those things because you have more to manage. So I think architecture is really different strokes for different folks, and so I'm by no means ever trying to advocate that everyone needs to like a certain way of living. I'm just saying that I believe that a smaller way of life for many of us will be one that will work well for us on an environmental level, a financial level, and a happiness level. So yeah, I think you can absolutely, it's design. It's going to matter who it's for, and so, for example, we're not about micro units per se, but that is one tool in the toolbox. We can give the functionality of a larger apartment in less space, and that's really good for the environment. It's also really good for their pocketbook. And I think that simplifying your life gives you a little more time, a little more ease, and might actually make you a little happier. So if you've got a family and you have 4 kids, then obviously living in a 350 square foot apartment doesn't make much sense. You have to change the design. And so, yeah, and if you're much older or handicapped, a lot of these all affect the design. And so you need to take the stuff into account. So customization for small living makes a lot of sense and is necessary. Well, I guess I'm shaping it all the time. I'm a big experimenter, and so have certainly over the last decade or so really experimented with small living, and I think I'm trying different things out all the time. Most recently I built a 1,000 square foot off-grid house in Maui. That's 1,000 square feet, but 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. So I combined a ton of functionality in a very small space, and then full solar with sun flare solar panels and blue ion batteries. Did a full water catchment system, and then separate composting toilets. And so what I've been able to show is that you can live a really luxurious life and still be entirely off-grid. So that was very interesting. Subsequently, I did a tiny house. It's 100 square feet that does many of the same things, very off-grid. And I'm looking forward to trying to shape my future in Venice, California. I'm interested in water catchment and solar, and just really seeing if I can build a smaller lifestyle that is a pleasant place to be, saves you money, and lowers your footprint significantly.